So, can you highlight both what the government is doing to facilitate access to finance for SMEs, but also Malta's input within European Union policies at council level to actually see more access to finance for SMEs?
Thank you very much. Thanks for having me. I think it's one of the main pillars, the four main pillars on the Commission's agenda to help promote SMEs, apart from innovation, apart from investing in human capital, apart from improving market conditions. I think access to finance is the main gripe, the main complaint, the main area of concern for the majority of SMEs in Europe. So the main focus of our interventions and our endeavors within the Council of Ministers is always to sensitize, to make the Commission even more aware of the need to facilitate access to credit. On our side, I would use the word humble and honored to note that my country, within the Council of Ministers, whenever we meet, is invariably quoted or referred to as an example to emulate, as a country to look up to. Recently, there was Vice President Commissioner Tajani, when was it last June? He said it in front of all the 27 SME envoys of the European Union, who met in Malta for the first time on my invitation, and he told them, listen, what Malta is doing in the access to finance field is an ideal example, is a typical example, is a role model. The words we used, role model. So what are we doing? Does it mean that we are perfect? No. But it means that we have our ears to the ground, close to the business community, responding to their needs with various schemes and initiatives to increase access to finance. For instance, the Malta Enterprise administers a number of schemes, for example, low interest rate subsidies to support the acquisition of tangible or intangible assets, loan guarantees, soft loans. In particular, however, my main source of pride is the microcredit, the microinvest, and the microguarantee. Microinvest is a scheme which we launched 2 years ago, extended even during the course of this year, which has been a runaway success, whereby people get, and this is specifically tailor-made and available to the micro, those employing less than 10. So they get a tax credit of 40% in Malta, if it's gazetted up to 60%, up to a maximum of 25,000 euro. Whenever they either invest in the business, employ somebody new, acquire a new commercial vehicle. In the last 2 years, the latest statistics we have is October, is we have basically given back 12 million euro in tax credit to 1,597 small businesses, micro businesses. So just imagine, in the space of 2 years, 12 million euro back in the pockets of almost 1,600 micro businesses. That scheme alone has generated 600 new jobs. That scheme alone. Microcredit, another very good scheme, administered by Bank of Valletta, a local bank, which won the international tender. It's a Jeremy scheme, Jeremy program. And according to the European Investment Bank officials in Luxembourg, they told us that the take-up rate in Malta is by far, I'm quoting, by far the highest in Europe. It's mind-boggling. Small economy, an open economy, surrounded by collapsing economies, unfortunately, where the take-up rate of this scheme for businesses to get loans at a favorable rate, be able to pay them back over 10 years, very low bank collateral needed, up to a maximum of $500,000. So in less than 19 months, since the scheme was initiated. It's called the Microcredit Scheme. BOV, Bank of Valletta, have approved 438 projects by small businesses. They have asked and approved almost 38 million in loans and investing between them more than 60 million. These are noteworthy, significant figures. A small economy where more than 400 small businesses in 19 months invest 16 million euros. And they are getting the loans to expand their business, to enlarge their business. Finally, the micro guarantee, we launched it 6 weeks ago, administered also by Malta Enterprise, announced in the budget for this year, whereby for the first ever time government is guaranteeing up to 90% of the loan of a small business up to a maximum of 100,000. So it's a source of pride, but a show of confidence, of trust we have in the small businesses. So these schemes, there are others, but I will not go into more detail because time is what it is. But this number of schemes, this variety of schemes, are definitely a result of us being close to the business community, to those who represent these small businesses, the self-employed. Government listens, government has consulted, and many of these schemes are a direct result of either suggestions or recommendations coming from the business community itself.
We've heard in these 2 days that Malta is strategically located in the center of the Mediterranean, politically adapt for what is happening in the Mediterranean at the moment. So there is a lot of advantages to be taken from the situation at the moment. How can SMEs benefit from this situation? So from our geostrategic and geopolitical location, how can our SMEs actually make the best out of this situation?
SMEs benefit because Maltese governments along the years have always, invariably, consistently, both parties, whenever in government, adopted an approach whereby Malta has always acted as an honest broker to further promote the cause of stability in the Euro-Med area. Something that is a plus for us is that not only we are neutral, but we can never be a threat. Nobody can see us as a threat. So what you see is what you get. And so when Maltese governments end up speaking apolitically, I'm rising above the partisan politics. Both parties in government have always adopted, as far as foreign policy goes, this line: Malta is an honest broker that you can trust. Furthermore, we have another advantage which we take for granted: our language. We are the country, the nation, which has the only Semitic language in the world written in European alphabet. Many of us speak 2 or 3 languages. Some of us are polyglots. So when a Maltese businessman approaches a North African or a Middle East counterpart, there is already a sense of chemistry, which with all due respect to other European nations or other countries, with all due respect, they lack, and they can never have. So when I speak, or when any of my colleagues speak with our counterparts in these countries, or when a businessman, an entrepreneur meets another businessman, even the fact that we can communicate basically in the same language establishes a bond which goes beyond formalities. Thirdly, Malta Enterprise again administers a number of schemes, and in the next few months it will intensify the internationalization aspect. budget for this year has devoted a sum to help promote exports. But it is a source of pride, again, when 2 weeks ago, no, not even 2 weeks ago, last Wednesday, the European Commission issues its autumn forecast for the Maltese economy and states that our economy deficit is going down and projected to go down further. Our employment predicted to go up, unemployment predicted to further go down, even next year, as opposed to the predictions, unfortunately, sadly, to the predictions obtained in many European countries. But in particular, it made this noteworthy comment. For the first ever time in 10 years, the Maltese economy this year, 2012, has exported more than it imported. Net exports in the first 7 months of this year have gone up net 7.1%. Gross more than 8%. For the first ever time in 10 years, it says something about our businesses, about our factories. You export more, it means that you are working more. You are working more, it means that you have, and in fact they have, needed more employees, increased their employment levels. The aviation industry, another hub. Malta is a hub, the center of the Mediterranean, mentioned the geopolitical and geostrategic location of Malta. We're not only, we can never be a threat, but we are back in the center. And we can be, and we are, a hub. Services, financial services are booming. But not only financial services. Recently I was in a business delegation of Malta Enterprise to Germany, 3 weeks ago, to Stuttgart and Hamburg. And the amount of interest generated when we made our presentations, I made mine, Malta Enterprise made the presentation, the case for Malta. Amazing interest. A German businessman came up to us after the presentation in the evening, seriously considering relocating the call center he has in Hamburg to Malta. I mean, we take so many things for granted. It's a safe climate, a relatively low cost of living, infrastructure is excellent, IT is very good, highly skilled workforce. So all these factors make Malta an ideal climate. And the fact that we have all these advantages, yes, it helps our internationalization even more.
Excellent. Let's go to something which is very close to the heart of the Malta Institute of Management, Islamic finance. For a number of years, the Malta Institute of Management has been speaking about this, and also we heard a lot about it in these 2 days. How is the government actually looking at the possibility of establishing Malta as a center for Islamic finance? And what opportunities does this offer to our SMEs?
At the moment in Malta we have close to 600 investment funds. More or less, we have 10 billion euro assets established, serviced in Malta. Islamic finance has not yet taken root. I believe it's a matter of time before it does, for various reasons. When I was chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, the previous legislature, I led this delegation from Parliament to the Middle East, to the Gulf countries actually. It was Kuwait, Saudi, Dubai. And the amount of interest, serious interest, that's being in fact taken up by Finance Malta, by the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, by the Ministry of Finance, to promote Islamic finance in Malta is substantial. I honestly do not think it is a question of if, but when. So it's a question of promoting further. The interest is there. It's a question of further making the case why Malta is the excellent, the IT location as a flourishing investment management industry for us to have Islamic finance, and in particular, Finance Malta, one of the remits of Finance Malta, this promotion arm by the Ministry of Finance and the Ministry of Foreign Affairs has precisely this aim, to further promote the establishment of Islamic finance in Malta. As you know, Islamic finance is basically based on risk and profit sharing. And Malta lends itself perfectly. If we have, over the last, 2 years, in spite of the recession, in spite of what's happening abroad in Europe, we have a financial services industry which has grown by more than 25%. Today we have more than 12,000 people working in this industry. So if so many funds have relocated from Northern Europe, from elsewhere to Malta, generating so many new jobs, Islamic finance would be the next step forward. I do genuinely believe it, and together it's not just a government initiative. I salute the efforts of the Malta Institute of Management in particular. We have spoken about this regularly, and together I do believe it's only a question of time, a matter of time, before we have it established here as well.